All right, here we are, guys, on Ohana. It'll be the first map here for between our two players. In the bottom right corner, one of the three Zergs that FXO does have, EU division, of course. It's going to be Lowly. Ooh, my
It is
gosh.
Lowly, and he's opening up actually with a 12 pull here on Ohana. Now, this is a two-player map, so ever so much more likely you're going to be scouted. Look at this mineral deny. Actually missed it there for a second, unfortunately. But
let's introduce that player really quickly so we can talk about her micro in the very far top left corner.
Yeah,
it's going to be Root's very own Leia. And Leia, of course, is known for her Colossus micro, but again, as displayed right there, she's really, really adamant about making certain units do a lot of damage or a lot of harass.
Yeah, Leia has an incredible ability to multitask really, really well while keeping up macro behind it. And very unique playstyle that can be extremely difficult to deal with it if you haven't had a lot of experience. It's just one of those, you know, it's one of those situations where you can't really you can't find a player to practice against who's going to play against you quite like Leia will. You need somebody who's just, you know, really, really good at harassment-based strategies and weird, funky all-ins and things of that nature.
I like the 12 pull here from Lowly. He likes to play a very Roach-esque like style of play. He loves to get that Roach one very early, especially in a lot of his other matchups. Now, it's pretty adamant to do it in Protoss, against Protoss, but he loves to do it all across the board. But 4 Lings now popping out. With that 12 pull popping out, he makes it where Leia has to be a little bit on the honest side here and doesn't go straight into a Nexus first. You saw she immediately followed up into a Forge. 4 Lings will kill off that pylon, or at least force the cancel there, and Lowly now gets the hatchery down, but everything's delayed a little bit, but we don't have a Nexus first, so it all works out.
And the pylon block there is a pretty good call from Leia. She knew that Lowly had gone for that early pull, and so is going to be pulling resources. There's not a lot of opportunities to spend that money. The builds that we've been seeing out of Zergs more lately, the 15-15, if you can't get that hatchery down, you just make an Overlord. And you're going to need it anyways in a second. So it's not really a big deal that, you know, against the 15-15 build. Here, against that 12-15, or 12, actually it was a lot later, I think it was 12-19 build that we saw out of Lowly, definitely a little more of an inconvenience to have a pylon blocking the path.
So Lowly with that tech now finally finishing up, just got his gas out, so now we'll be able to move into speed very soon. Does have the second queen popping out, and it looks like he's gonna be having the hatchery out as well. But notice how everything's very delayed a little bit here. We're already about 4:50 to 5-minute mark, and he's just now about to get the hatchery popping out very soon. It just feels very late, and if you have a really strong 2-base timing come your way, it's really hard to pull off. So I'm curious to see what Leia's gonna go for here. Yeah,
Leia's timings are right on spot too. I mean, Cybercore is only 5-6 seconds late. It's very standard timing here. Whereas, as you were saying, Lowly, you know, the expansion is pretty late at this point.
Here. That's a little bit on the painful side. But now we'll go and get him up. There we go. It looks like he's going to go ahead and fall up into a third, as he did take a unit down to that bottom left corner to get it scouted. We should see a third pretty soon.
Now, this is about the time we're looking for gases to go down for Leia. These are the earliest gases that you'll see for robo-based plays. In a couple seconds here, we could see a Stargate thrown down, but notice that there's no pylons, you know, down here in the bottom left or anything like that. Really, the only ones here. So yeah, we're not expecting Stargate play because of that. Lowly also, though, is going to be able to see that all 3 pylons that should be up at this point are here at the natural expansion. So that's actually a little bit of a tell for Lowly to let him know that he doesn't need to worry about any Stargate play likely coming from Leia.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point there from Kibbles. If you're ever coming in for a scout, guys, yeah, look out for the 3rd to 4th pylons that are all the way down. A lot of Protoss players have to manage their pylon placement to make sure that they have things powered, but they always want to have a hidden power or a pylon somewhere just so they can get some kind of tech out. But with all 3 being in the natural, that is a bit curious, and a good point pointed out by Kibbles.
Lowly double checks, though. Yeah, because it's always possible. You could cut corners with your build, make your build a little less efficient,
cut off a couple
build
probes.
That extra pylon, and, you know, make it tricky. And you're like, oh, 3 pylons, I don't have to worry about Stargate. Well, actually, they build an extra pylon. But in this situation, Lowly's making sure that everything is covered.
Well, Layla did go for double forge, though. We have +1 armor on the way, +1 attack on the way as well. So interesting choice there. A lot of timing's going to be slowed down a little bit there because she's throwing a lot of tech into that route. But she will have a very strong mid-game because she could have 2-2 by that point. Looking into the follow-up here, 1 Gale Robo and 1 Gateway. So currently on 2 gates and 1 robo. And you can see if a really strong all-in came, any Banelings or anything, she would be in a lot of pain here. And a Baneling nest is on the way. Lair being queued up as well. And you normally just don't get Banelings for defensive purposes here. Lowly does have a tendency to go really aggressive.
Yeah, he does. Now, Lowly is also researching +1/+1 with these 2 forges at the front. And I mean, Lowly, yeah, definitely
Oh,
What?
wow,
He
that's...
didn't.
Yeah, he didn't see that. If he would have saw that, that would have been a huge cue for him to go for his aggressive tendencies, but that one forge not being scouted is a big deal there for Loli. It allows him to think, okay, I'm going to go ahead and fall up into my third and go tech routes. And you know what? If a Protoss player actually gets +1/1, +2/2, +3/3 out really quickly,
Yep.
they can throw you off before a greater Spire timing even happens. Even before you get the Spire down, they can do a ton of damage to your army. And a lot of players won't be expecting double forge in a lot of matches unless they're playing, of course, Greater Prime.
All right, well, Loli in this situation is going to see a lot of gateways here. He does see the Twilight Council, though, has yet to see the Robo facility, which is going to be a very important thing. This could actually look like some sort of, especially because well, it doesn't look like he saw the Forge upgrading, but he may pick up the ramp here in a second and check. This could look like some sort of a +2 Blink Stalker timing coming out of Leia right now, which, I mean, is not at all what she's going for.
+2/2, charge
Should be
loss
expanding
now
off
on the
this,
way.
in fact.
What's the Robo moving into? A Warp Prism. Oh, Leia. Doing what Leia does. Loves that Warp Prism. Potentially could see a Robotics Bay follow up a little bit later on, and she'll go ahead and pick up a Colossus and then go ahead and maneuver it between the third and the natural. But this is very standard Leia. 2/2 upgrades with Warp Prism. Harassment possibilities will be on the way.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for her. Checking into
Whoa.
Loli. Third just got up. Oh, what's he putting that by?
Some more gateways here, actually, going down for Leia, and that's a little bit surprising. I expected her to expand off this build because, you know, she's getting charged, she's going to a Templar Archive, so, you know, the Charge-Let Archon, okay, she is going to go for the third base, in fact, which makes a lot of sense here. When you rush for 2/2, and you're going for this Twilight Tech route, Leia's going to be going for a very strong timing push here in the near future. Once maybe 3/3, get some Archons on the field, and have a lot of charge lots, it's going to be pretty crazy.
Interesting play here from Loli. He's actually moving into upgraded Overlord here. He's going to be able to have drops available as well as that speed popping out. Has a lot of lings. Fester's being queued up as well. No Baneling speed though. It would be nice to have Baneling drops with Baneling speed. It's a little bit easier to drop onto your opponent and do a decent amount of damage. Has followed up into a Macro Hatch as well. He's got to be careful though of this War Prism that's about to head into the main, and he is. He's caught it right away.
Nice cancel there from Leia. Not going to lose any resources, and that's actually very nice for Leia. I mean, she's going to lose the War Prism, so this is great for Loli in that regard, but there were 4 Zealots in that, in fact, so has to drop them off. But at least Leia isn't losing a ton of units here, not a catastrophic loss by any means. And she does force the units of Loli to go home, so Loli can move out, or Leia, excuse me, can move out and take this expansion.
Oh, but the problem here for Leia is what we see on board here. We have the Overlord spending all the creep, and now the expansion that she wanted to put down when her first War Prism came in has been delayed so darn long, unfortunately, and that is quite a pain. He's going to need that a little bit earlier than this. We're at almost 12 minutes, and we're having Loli gear up for some strength here. He's got +2 attack on the way. He's got a nice amount of Baneling, 16 now being queued up, and has a good hefty amount of Infestors. He's looking pretty strong, actually. He could potentially contest his third.
He definitely could.
Or go to the main.
He's going to be going for a big drop play here, but Storm is on the field, and that's going to provide some substantial sustained DPS against these units as well. We've got Archons, which are so good against Banelings.
Cost efficient and a half.
Yeah, it's possibly, I mean, it's quoted by Artosis, it's the most cost inefficient engagement you can have in a ZVP match. You know, that's definitely up to argument here, but the point is definitely across that Archons are very, very good here against Banelings, and there are no Colossus on the field, which is, you know, where Banelings do excel.
You're very correct.
Stand over
look
units.
in that bottom left corner. See what Layla's doing with this War Prism. Okay, looks like she's going to be waiting for a few seconds here. But the drops have been queued up. It's just a matter of when Loli wants to go. But as time progresses and more Archons get mixed in, it looks like every few warp-ins we get 1 or 2 Archons mixed in here from Leia. So she's being very on top of it. As you can see, a high Templar is being warped in. Just being really productive with that.
Yep.
3/3 has been queued up too, and look how fast she's up in the upgrades. 2/2, +2 attacks about to finish up, +2 carapace has just started, and 3/3 is +3 attacks almost done, and +3 is a little under halfway. She's just moving up. She has a full upgrade advantage in less than a minute available to her.
Yep. And one of the things that we are actually seeing here, while, you know, she's working on these upgrades, of course, is this pylon wall. And we've been seeing more and more of these pylon walls with a lot of gateways in the main base. It's actually kind of cool, where you scare your opponent into the possibility of them being active for, you know, that they're going for a timing push. Because you're like, the Overlord gets in there, and you see tons and tons of gateways, and you're like, oh, I feel like I'm going to get attacked here in a second. But actually, they're just getting the gateways because they're about to expand, and instead of using gateways as their wall off, they just use pylons instead. It's a little bit weaker of a wall off, but at the cost of your Zerg opponent making tons of units for no reason, I like this play all of Leia.
Well, a good amount of Lings are heading to this top left corner. Overlords went first. That's a pretty nice scout, actually, moving up there to see if there was any opportunity for that to be scouted. Warp Prism drop is in the bottom right corner. Infestors, though, will be able to land that fungal and prevent Leia from doing any real damage. Let's go and check the workers' kill count in case we missed anything that did get killed off. And it looks like, oh my gosh, Leia has killed a lot of workers. She must have done a drop down at third. I saw a Warp Prism down there. I think it was a High Templar Storm drop. But it looks like the Lings are now scurrying into the Overlord, getting ready for another drop again. And here comes Leia once more. And gonna have a feedback available. I can't really see the energy there. Oh, Fungal landed once again. Infested Terrans popping in. And here comes the drop from Lowly straight into the main. It is a hefty amount of Lings. Oh my gosh,
he's not dropping the Overlords, though. Finally starting to actually drop them out of the Overlords. They're going to be dealing damage to these cannons, but the cannons are making such a difference here and providing a lot of defense, a lot of time for Leia so that she doesn't take too much damage.
Fourth has been creeped up, and it looks like she will defend that just nicely here. And looking into her armor, her main army outside of that natural and third, she's actually got a pretty strong composition. She's starting to move out across the middle of the map right now. And let's see what she's got here. She's got a ton of Zealots, a good amount of Archons, Stalkers, and of course High Templars available with that Side Storm, I believe. So moving forward very quickly, very strong army, and really good against Ling and Fester.
And it definitely is, Tim. This composition out of Lowly is a little bit less than ideal, especially with still so many Banelings in it. But right now, you know, they're just hanging out in these Overlords, trying to make it that Leia can't see them. But the reality is that Leia had an observer over that army the second those Banelings were morphed in. So she knows that they exist. She's going to take out this fourth base and turn around.
Moving to the bottom right, taking that fourth, he's heading towards the middle, and needs to be a little bit on the careful side. The Zealots, you can tell they group up so darn heavily, and Fester Fungals could do a decent amount of damage if he lands 2 or 3 subsequently, like perfectly in a row. Archons here on the way as well, a good amount of Stalkers. The engagement's going to be a little bit hard at that point. Bring in the High Templars first, that's nice. Land some Storms on top of these Overlords would be a nice damage dealer in the beginning if Stalkers can take them down. And there goes a nice Storm landing. The Stalkers doing their best to kite.
Banelings are dropping on the Zealot, but not dealing that much damage. Banelings actually only connecting with a single Zealot through the entire second half of that engagement is so good for Leia, as Lowly has lost quite a bit of supply, but he's following it up with Broodlords. Leia's clock is ticking.
Yeah, that is the truth. Layla needs to move in here and do damage immediately. Archon needs to lead the charge. Here comes the Zealots right away, moving straight forward here, but the Archon I would like to lead the charge so it can soak up these Banelings in case they're A move.
Oh.
They will implode immediately here, but the Zealots just charging forward. There's so many of them. Nice amount of Stalkers in the bottom right corner too as well to prevent any flanks from happening. The Zealots charging forward. More the Warp Prism being the warp, and Leia doing a clinic here on how to do Warp Prism aggression.
Yeah, really. So many Zealots in this composition, but with these few Archons making a huge difference. Now Broodlords are on the field, but Lowly has already sustained an incredible amount of damage, down to just about 60 supply worth of military units, and a lot of them are in production. Zerglings spawning right now, but this is a lot of Zerglings. These Stalkers will have blink in a second. When they do, well, the Zerglings are actually already going to be dead. All that's left is Broodlords, and if Leia can deal with those, she can take this game.
Yeah, Leia just needs to pull back here, warp in a couple more Archons and a few more Zealots, and then she can engage in the natural ramp. But now she's kind of forced to deal with these Broodlords. Finally going to go ahead and link right forward with these Stalkers and catch 1 to 2 Broodlords right away, but needs to retreat. Just doesn't have enough Zealots and Archons quite yet to engage. I just want to see another warp in, and then I'll be okay with her engaging again, because she's killed off that 4th and the 3rd base. That was a successful attack before anything happened again.
It definitely was. Leia's in a great position right now. You know, Lowly has lost his 3rd, lost his 4th, has not taken a 5th. Leia, on the other hand, she's grabbing her 4th base, 3rd, natural, uncontested, no damage whatsoever. Leia's got to be feeling great. From this point, well, what does Leia need to do here? Do you try to close out this game immediately with Stalkers? I mean, you do. Oh, she's got 3-3-1 upgrades here. Let's be honest. She's out of control.
Well, her Observer is above the Broodlord. She knows what her opponent has. I'd like to sit above the 3rd a little bit longer, because until that hatchery finishes off, she really, Lowly's no threat. He's not going to move out across the middle of the map with his Broodlords because he just can't do anything. So at this point, get that 4th established for her, and then just keep following up with warp-ins, because she's got a pretty nice supply at the moment. 180 to 130. Maybe 1 more warp-in, and then she can go in for a push, because her 4th will be almost done by then.
All right, well, Leia right now is getting ready for that push. See if the Warp Prism, if there's a Warp Prism getting ready to accompany this army to allow sufficient reinforcements. But no, it just looks like she's getting ready to attack with just these forces, but honestly, it should be enough. There's only a couple of infestors accompanying this.
Yeah, there's nothing in this army really whatsoever. A nice fungal does land on some of those Zealots, and we'll be baiting these units straight into the spine car wall, and there we go. Leia has decided she's going to move in, charging forward right away, and the Stalkers are protected. Look how well she's keeping them defended in that bottom right corner.
Nice target firing, though, out of Lowly at the same time. Did kill a lot of the Stalkers, but the Broodlord count has just fallen far too substantially, and there it is, folks. GG for Lowly. Leia with quite a performance there. We did miss that storm in the bottom left, as you were saying, Tim. It was a storm from both of those High Templar. We saw they were low on energy, got fungoed later, but cleaned up quite a number of workers with that.
Mostly of all, Leia just kept up the aggression with their Warp Prism play. You notice her first Warp Prism got caught, and a lot of players at that point say, okay, I'm done with this. He's going to catch him with my Infestors, or with his Infestors. He's going to kill off my Warp Prism harass, and effectively I'm going to be losing resources. But Leia kept up with it. She used a total of 3 Warp Prisms to keep doing harassment, and those 2 storms that did hit in the bottom left of the third was enough to make it warranted for those 3 Warp Prisms. So awesome job of keeping up with their upgrades as well as harassing while getting that third established, and at that point she just pushed across the middle of the map and just straight up won.
You know, I don't think Loli was expecting a second Warp Prism. As you were saying, a lot of times you go into Colossus from there, you utilize that, you make Immortals. I mean, it's Ohana. So a second Warp Prism? Who does that? And, well, that's what we were talking about in the beginning, man. Leia is not your run-of-the-mill standard player. Guys, we are going to cut to a quick commercial break. Jump on over to twitter.com/IGNProLeague. Make sure you are following the IGN Pro League. If we hit 50,000 followers, 50 Heart of the Swarm beta keys coming your way. We'll announce it if we hit them.
Boom.
See you there.